My wife came home at 5 a.m., her hair messy, lipstick smudged. Car broke down, she lied. But she forgot one thing, our neighbor's security camera. The footage showed her stumbling out of a stranger's car, kissing him goodbye. Instead of confronting her, I sent her a text with the video attached. Explain this. She ran to me crying, but I had one more message left to send to the man's wife. And her response? It changed everything. I, 38 male, thought I had a good marriage. I really did. My wife, 35 female, let's call her Sarah, and I had been together for 10 years. We live in Austin, Texas, in a quiet neighborhood with good people and clean streets. Nothing crazy ever really happens here. Just families, yard work, BBQs, and the usual. That was until last weekend. Friday started out normal. Sarah told me she had a girls' night planned. I said, cool, have fun, kissed her goodbye, and stayed in. I ordered takeout, watched a movie, fed the dog, and went to bed around midnight. At 2 a.m., I woke up and she still wasn't home. I texted her, hey, everything okay? No answer. By 3:30 a.m., I was calling. No pickup. No text back. I started pacing around the house, looking out the window every 15 minutes like some paranoid dad waiting for his teenager to sneak back in. At 5:02 a.m., I heard the front door. I didn't say anything at first. I just watched her come in. She looked like hell. Hair messy. Lipstick smeared. Her blouse had a wrinkle that looked like someone had grabbed it. Her heels in her hand, walking barefoot. She smelled like vodka, smoke, and something else. Something that made my stomach turn. She froze when she saw me sitting in the dark. I didn't even say anything, just stared. She mumbled, car broke down. Had to wait for AAA. I didn't respond. Just nodded. She walked straight past me to the bathroom. My gut was screaming that something was off, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I've never been the jealous or controlling type. I've always given her space, trusted her. That trust shattered the next day. Around noon, I was out front watering the lawn. My elderly neighbor, Mr. Randall, shuffled over from across the street. He's a retired guy, nice, keeps to himself mostly. He has security cameras all around his property because someone tried to break into his shed last year. He said, hey, you okay? I saw something strange on my camera last night. Thought you might want to see it. I didn't know what to expect, but I followed him back to his house. He played the footage from 4:45 a.m. I saw Sarah getting out of a car. Not her car. It was a dark gray sedan. She was in the passenger seat. The driver got out too. A man, probably around our age. He opened her door, helped her out, then they stood close. Way too close. Then he kissed her. Not a peck. Not a friendly hug. A full-on kiss. Like a long, slow, I'll see you soon kind of kiss. She kissed him back. Then she walked away, heels in hand, into our house. I stared at the screen, silent. I felt something inside me shut down. It wasn't anger yet. It was just shock. Cold, heavy shock. I thanked Mr. Randall and walked home. I sat in the living room and watched the video 5 more times. Each time, hoping I was seeing it wrong. Hoping it was someone else. Hoping there was some logical reason. But there wasn't. It was her. It was Sarah. And she had lied. Still, I didn't yell. I didn't confront her right away. I just sent her a message. I forwarded her the video with one sentence. Explain this. She was in the kitchen when her phone went off. I watched her pick it up. I saw her face change. Panic. She ran into the living room, eyes already tearing up. She looked like she'd just gotten punched. She started crying immediately. Please, I can explain. I said nothing. She dropped to her knees, full-on sobbing. It was a mistake. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. I didn't buy it. You don't kiss someone like that if it means nothing. And you sure as hell don't lie about it after. I said one thing. I'm sending the video to his wife. She looked up at me like I'd stabbed her. No, please. Don't do that. She doesn't deserve to be dragged into this. I stared at her. And I do. She tried to say more, but I walked away. I went into the bedroom, pulled up social media, and found the guy from the video. Turns out he works with Sarah. Same company, different department. I dug through his profile and found his wife. Her name is Lisa. I sent Lisa a message. Hi. I'm really sorry to do this, but I think you should see this. I attached the video. No caption. No explanation. She replied in less than 5 minutes. Thank you. I had a feeling. I just didn't have proof. I'm so sorry you're going through this. That was the moment it all hit me. The final nail. Sarah was still crying downstairs. I didn't go to her. I didn't comfort her. She had made her choice. She had a whole damn night to make better decisions, and she didn't. Over the next few hours, things moved in slow motion. Sarah tried to talk. I didn't listen. She tried to hug me. I backed away. She kept saying she was sorry, that it was a mistake, that it would never happen again. But the words felt hollow, like she was just saying whatever she thought would fix things. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just stayed quiet, because I knew what I had to do next, and I wasn't sure I was ready for it. I didn't sleep that night. She stayed on the couch. I locked the bedroom door. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that kiss. That look on her face when she stepped out of that car. She didn't look guilty. She looked happy, comfortable, like she'd done it before. The next morning, the house was dead quiet. She didn't speak. I didn't speak. We just existed in the same space, like strangers in a waiting room. Around 10 a.m., My phone buzzed. It was Lisa again. Can I call you? I said yes. She sounded calm. Too calm. I've been through this before, she said. With him. 2 years ago. I forgave him once. Stupidest thing I ever did. I didn't know what to say. I was still numb. Lisa continued. I think this has been going on for a while. That stopped me cold. What do you mean? I asked. She sighed. I found an old phone a few months ago. His backup phone from work. There were messages. A few names. One of them was S. I asked him. He swore it was a guy from accounting. She paused. But after the video you sent. I'm sure now. S was Sarah. I felt like throwing up. Lisa asked me something I wasn't expecting. Do you want to find out how far it goes? I said yes, even though part of me didn't. But I needed truth now. No matter how ugly. That's when we came up with a plan. Lisa still had access to his phone bill. She pulled it up. Sent me screenshots. There were hundreds of texts. Mostly during work hours. But also late nights. Weekend afternoons. Times when Sarah had told me she was out shopping or visiting her sister. Then came the hotel receipts. Lisa emailed them to me. 3 different dates. 3 different hotels around Austin. I checked Sarah's calendar. On each of those days, she had told me she was attending team building events. Even asked me to help her pick out outfits. I was shaking. Not out of rage, but out of humiliation. How blind I'd been. How easily she lied to my face. Smiled. Kissed me. Slept next to me. That evening, I confronted her. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just laid everything on the table, Lisa's phone call, the texts, the hotels. She looked like she'd been slapped. Her first words? You went behind my back? That broke me. I laughed. Not a funny laugh. A cold, bitter laugh. You slept with another man for months and I went behind your back? She tried to spin it. Said she felt trapped. That our marriage had lost spark. That she was confused. I said, then why didn't you just leave? She had no answer. That's when things took another turn. 2 days later, Lisa called me again. Her voice sounded different this time. Shaky. Nervous. She said, you might want to sit down. I sat. I found out something else, she said. She confronted her husband. Told him she had the video. That it was over. He begged, cried, admitted everything. But then he said something weird. He said, I didn't think she'd go that far. Lisa pressed him. He admitted Sarah had been pushing for something more than just an affair. She told him she wanted to leave me. That she was done pretending. That they should both walk away from their marriages and start over. But he told her no. He said he never had any intention of leaving Lisa. That Sarah took things too seriously. Lisa told me this and then added, she wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave you. For him. Everything went quiet in my head. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a whole other life she was building, right under my nose. I wanted to scream, punch a wall, set something on fire. But instead, I just sat there. Still. Hollowed out. Later that night, I looked at Sarah. Really looked at her. And for the first time, I didn't recognize the person sitting across from me. And that's when she dropped her twist. I think I'm pregnant, she said. I stared at her. The room started spinning. I opened my mouth. But no words came out. She said, I don't know if it's yours. She said it just like that. I think I'm pregnant, and I don't know if it's yours. No hesitation. No softening the blow. Just dropped it like a bomb in the middle of the room. I didn't say anything. Couldn't. It was like my brain hit pause. She started talking, fast, trying to fill the silence. I missed my period. I haven't taken a test yet. I was going to, but then all this happened, and I stood up and walked out the front door. Just walked. Down the block. Past Mr. Randall's yard. Past the mailbox. I must have walked for half an hour before I even realized where I was going. Ended up in my car, sitting in the parking lot at a gas station. Didn't buy anything. Just stared at the steering wheel. I felt like I was going to lose it. This woman, this person I married, lived with, loved, she not only cheated, she might be pregnant with another man's baby. And here's the part that broke me even more. I didn't believe it was an accident. I know that sounds harsh, but once you've seen someone lie that easily, once they've looked you in the eyes and fed you betrayal with a smile, you start questioning everything. I went home hours later. She was still on the couch, crying, tissues everywhere. I asked her one question. Did you do this on purpose? She didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, I don't know. I said, don't say that unless you know. She looked up, tears streaking her face. I didn't plan it. I wasn't trying to trap him or anything. Trap him. Not you. Not me. She wasn't thinking about me at all. Then she said something else that made everything spin in a whole new direction. I told him I might be pregnant, and he ghosted me. Just like that. The guy she cheated with, her work fling, her fantasy future, cut her off the moment she brought up the baby. Blocked her on everything. Didn't show up to work that day. HR told her he called in sick. So now she was left with me. The backup. The plan B. I asked, what would have happened if he'd said he wanted to be with you? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. I knew. And then the next twist came from Lisa. She messaged me again. Can we meet? There's something I need to tell you in person. We met at a park nearby. It was quiet. Early evening. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept either. She said, I think they've done this before. I blinked. What do you mean? She pulled out her phone, Showed me screenshots from old emails and photos she'd recovered off a cloud backup from a year ago. Hidden folder. Labeled with a code name. She'd thought it was work stuff. Photos of her husband with someone who looked like Sarah. Hair dyed, different clothes, but the way they touched, the same. She'd found messages too. Nothing with names. But the pattern matched. Same style of texting. Same time blocks. Same woman? Lisa said she wasn't 100% sure. But deep down, we both felt it. This wasn't a first-time fling. This was a second-chance affair. And it wasn't just about sex. They were emotionally involved. Long-term. Careful. Secretive. Probably had code names for each other. Burner accounts. Maybe even used work trips as cover. Then Lisa dropped the biggest twist yet. I think they met before we ever knew them. I asked what she meant. She told me she looked at some old photos on her husband's Facebook. Way before she and I ever knew each other. A wedding. From 2013. 2 people in the background. Blurry, but unmistakable. It was Sarah. And the guy. At the same event. Standing together. Smiling. And now everything was spiraling. Had this started before we were married? Had I been the other man, without even knowing it? Had Sarah been keeping this guy in the background for years? Was I just the one who married her while she really wanted him? I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a double life. And I had been living in it without a clue. I couldn't take it anymore. A week had passed since the pregnancy bombshell, since Lisa told me they might have known each other before we even met. Since I found out that I might have just been some side route in her long detour to the man she really wanted. It was all too much. So I decided we were going to talk. In public. Somewhere where she couldn't twist the truth and cry her way out of it. Somewhere neutral. Somewhere with witnesses, if needed. We met at a diner halfway between our house and her work. A place we used to go to on Sundays. She looked tired. I was done pretending I wasn't. I pulled out my phone, opened the photos Lisa had shown me. The blurry pic of Sarah and the guy from a wedding 10 years ago. I turned the screen toward her. What is this? She looked, blinked, said nothing. I waited. She finally whispered, that's not what it looks like. I didn't flinch. She kept going. We met once. Before I met you. It was casual. It didn't mean anything. I leaned back in the booth. My voice came out cold. So you accidentally reconnected with your old hookup at work. Had an affair. Got pregnant. Lied about your car breaking down. Lied for months. And now what? Her face crumpled. She covered her face with her hands and started crying. But this time, I didn't feel bad. I felt angry. I felt used. A couple sat in the booth next to us. They were watching now. The waitress slowed down near our table. Everyone could feel something was boiling. Sarah suddenly blurted out loud, through tears, I loved him, okay? I didn't mean to, but I did. And he made me feel alive again. The diner went silent for a second. And that was it. The truth. She said it. Out loud. In public. No more hiding. I stood up. She reached for my hand. Please, she said. Please don't leave. I messed up. But I'm still your wife. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, not anymore. Then I walked out. Didn't pay. Didn't look back. That was the last time I saw her face to face. The fallout was quick and loud. She sent me texts hundreds. Emails. Voicemails. Half apologies, half blaming me. Said I was cold. Said I ignored her. Said she wasn't herself. But then I got another message from Lisa again. She talked to the guy. He finally came clean. Told her everything. And this part made my blood freeze. He told Lisa that Sarah had once said she was pregnant before. Years ago. Said she lost it. But he never believed her. Thought she made it up to trap him. So was this pregnancy real? Was it another lie? I'd never know. Sarah went silent after that. She moved out 2 weeks later. Mr. Randall waved me down one morning. He'd heard. Everyone on the street knew. That's how things go in neighborhoods like this. Whispers over hedges. Sympathy disguised as gossip. He said, I'm sorry. You're a good man. I just nodded. Some mutual friends tried to stay neutral. Others took sides. My sister stopped talking to Sarah completely. My mom quiet, old school, just said, she broke a good man. Let her live with that. I didn't respond. I was too tired. A month later, the papers were signed. Divorce. Final. Clean. No kids. No property battles. No proof of pregnancy. Maybe there was never a baby. Maybe there was and she didn't know whose. Or maybe she just said it to keep me close when everything else was falling apart. I don't know. And honestly, I don't want it anymore. It's been 6 months. I'm still in Austin. Same house. New locks. I walk more. Breathe more. Think more. Some days I still wake up thinking she's there. Some nights I hear a car drive by and wonder if it's that same gray sedan. But then I remember what she said in that diner. I loved him. And that's what cuts the deepest. Not the cheating. Not the lying. Not even the maybe baby. It's the fact that the whole time I was building a life with her, she was busy missing someone else. I've learned something, though. People don't always cheat because of what you lack. Sometimes they cheat because of what they lack and think someone else will fill it. They won't. You can't fix someone who's breaking you to feel whole. Am I hopeful? Some days. Other days, I'm just quiet. But I'm still here. And that counts for something.